Welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're diving into the captivating story of Prophet Balaam, a figure mentioned in the Bible who encountered God in extraordinary ways. From his encounters with angels and the talking donkey to the crucial choices he had to make, Balaam's story is filled with valuable lessons. Stay with us until the end as we explore the complete story of Prophet Balaam and uncover the timeless wisdom it holds. Let's get started. Balaam's birth holds a significant place in the narrative of the Old Testament. According to the scriptures, Balaam was born in the land of Pethor, which was located in Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia, meaning between the rivers, was a region situated between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, known for its ancient civilizations and rich history. During the time of Balaam's birth, the Israelites were journeying through the wilderness under the leadership of Moses. The Exodus, the liberation of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, had taken place, and they were on their way to the Promised Land. While the exact year of Balaam's birth is not explicitly mentioned in the Bible, scholars estimate it to be around the same period as Moses' leadership. This places Balaam's birth in the 13th century BCE, during the time of the Israelites' wilderness wanderings. Balaam's unique gift of prophecy set him apart as a renowned diviner who could communicate with the spiritual realm and receive messages from God. Balaam's prophetic gift is first mentioned in the book of Numbers, where Balak, the king of Moab, approached Balaam seeking his assistance. Balak's concern arose from the growing presence of the Israelites, and he feared their conquest. Balak's knowledge of Balaam's prophetic abilities led him to believe that Balaam's curses or blessings could have a significant impact on the outcome of his conflict with the Israelites. Balak saw Balaam as a powerful diviner whose words carried weight and influence. In Numbers 22:5-6, we find Balak's messengers delivering his request to Balaam, and he, Balak, sent messengers to Balaam the son of Beor at Pethor, which is near the river in the land of the sons of his people, to call him, saying, "Look, a people has come from Egypt. See, they cover the face of the earth, and are settling next to me. Now therefore, please come at once, curse this people for me, for they are too mighty for me. Perhaps I shall be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land, for I know that he whom you bless is blessed, and he whom you curse is cursed." Balak's fear of the Israelites was rooted in their recent victories and the reputation they had gained as a mighty nation under the leadership of Moses. Balak hoped that by having Balaam curse the Israelites, their power and favor with God would be diminished, enabling Balak to overcome them. It is important to note that the Israelites were God's chosen people, and their destiny was under the protection and guidance of the Almighty. Balak's attempt to use Balaam's prophetic abilities to harm the Israelites would ultimately be futile in the face of God's sovereignty. Balak's request to Balaam reveals the tension and conflict between the Moabites and the Israelites during that time. However, as we will see in subsequent segments, God's plan for the Israelites would prevail, and Balaam's role in this story would take an unexpected turn. When faced with Balak's request to curse the Israelites, Balaam sought guidance from God. In Numbers 22:8-9, Balaam informed Balak's messengers to stay with him overnight, as he intended to seek guidance from the Lord, and he, Balaam, said to them, "Lodge here tonight, and I will bring back word to you, as the Lord speaks to me." So the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. Then God came to Balaam and said, "Who are these men with you?" God initiates the conversation by asking Balaam about the identity of the men who had come to him. Balaam responds by explaining the purpose of their visit, conveying Balak's request to curse the Israelites. In Numbers 22:12, God instructs Balaam not to go with Balak's messengers and not to curse the Israelites, and God said to Balaam, "You shall not go with them, you shall not curse the people, for they are blessed." God's message to Balaam makes it clear that the Israelites are a blessed people and should not be cursed. Balaam is prohibited from accompanying Balak's messengers and from pronouncing any curses upon the Israelites. Balaam faithfully communicates God's message to Balak's messengers. In Numbers 22:13, Balaam tells them, "Go back to your own country, for the Lord has refused to let me go with you." Balak's messengers return to Balak empty-handed, conveying the message that Balaam is unable to fulfill his request to curse the Israelites due to God's intervention. This initial encounter between Balaam and God establishes an important precedent. God makes it clear to Balaam that the Israelites are a blessed people and should not be harmed. Despite Balak's desires, God's plan and protection for the Israelites would prevail. Balak, undeterred by the initial response from Balaam, decided to make a second attempt to enlist his help. He sent more distinguished messengers to Balaam, offering him great rewards. Balaam, tempted by the allure of the rewards, sought guidance from God once again. In Numbers 22:15-17, Balak's messengers arrived with an increased offer of rewards, enticing Balaam. Then Balak again sent princes, more numerous and more honorable than they. And they came to Balaam and said to him, "Thus says Balak the son of Zippor, please let nothing hinder you from coming to me, for I will certainly honor you greatly, and I will do whatever you say to me. Therefore, please come, curse this people for me." Balaam, enticed by the promise of honor and rewards, was tempted to comply with Balak's request. However, he understood the importance of seeking God's guidance once again before proceeding. In Numbers 22:18, Balaam responds to Balak's messengers, "Though Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not go beyond the command of the Lord my God to do less or more." Balaam's response reveals his recognition that his actions and decisions must align with the commandments of the Lord. He acknowledges that he cannot go beyond what God has instructed him to do, regardless of the rewards offered. Balaam goes to God once again, and this time, God permits him to go with the messengers. However, there is a specific condition attached to God's permission. In Numbers 22:20, God says to Balaam, "If the men come to call you, rise and go with them, but only the word that I speak to you, that you shall do." God grants Balaam permission to go, but he must speak only the words that God gives him. Balaam is not to deviate from God's instructions or use his prophetic abilities to curse the Israelites. Instead, he must speak only what God reveals to him. It is crucial to note that God's permission for Balaam to go does not imply his approval of Balaam's desires or intentions. Balaam's motives would be tested along the journey, as we will see in subsequent segments. As Balaam embarked on his journey to meet Balak, a remarkable event unfolded along the way. Let's explore the scriptures to learn about the extraordinary encounter between Balaam, his donkey, and the angel of the Lord. In Numbers 22:22-23, we find Balaam setting out on his journey with the princes of Moab. Then God's anger was aroused because he, Balaam, went, and the angel of the Lord took his stand in the way as an adversary against him. And he was riding on his donkey, and his 2 servants were with him. Unbeknownst to Balaam, an angel of the Lord stood in his path as an adversary. However, it was the donkey that first perceived the presence of the angel. In Numbers 22:23, it says, "Now the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand, and the donkey turned aside out of the way and went into the field. So Balaam struck the donkey to turn her back onto the road." The donkey's actions perplexed Balaam, who struck the donkey in frustration, attempting to force her back onto the path. However, the donkey's resistance was not due to stubbornness but because she saw the angel of the Lord and was trying to avoid danger. In Numbers 22:25-27, the story continues, "Then the angel of the Lord went further, and stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she pushed herself against the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, so he struck her again. Then the angel of the Lord went further, and again stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. The angel of the Lord continued to block Balaam's path, and each time the donkey saw the angel, she took evasive actions, causing Balaam further frustration. Balaam's inability to see the angel led to his anger towards the donkey. Finally, in Numbers 22:28-31, we witness the climactic moment when God opens Balaam's eyes to see the angel of the Lord. Then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, "What have I done to you, that you have struck me these 3 times?" And Balaam said to the donkey, "Because you have abused me. I wish there were a sword in my hand, for now I would kill you." So the donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not your donkey on which you have ridden, ever since I became yours, to this day? Was I ever disposed to do this to you?" And he said, "No." In this extraordinary turn of events, God enables the donkey to speak, drawing Balaam's attention to the unusual nature of the situation. The donkey questions Balaam's treatment and reminds him of their long-standing relationship without such behavior. Balaam's eyes are then opened to see the angel of the Lord standing in the way. In Numbers 22:31, it states, "Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand, and he bowed his head and fell flat on his face." Balaam's encounter with the angel of the Lord humbles him, and he recognizes the significance of the divine presence before him. He immediately bows his head and falls prostrate on his face. This miraculous event serves as a powerful reminder of God's sovereignty and his ability to reveal his presence in unexpected ways. It also serves as a lesson to Balaam, highlighting the importance of obedience and recognizing God's guidance. After Balaam's eventful journey, he finally arrived in Moab and met with Balak as planned. Let's delve into the scriptures to learn about the prophetic words spoken by Balaam and how, instead of cursing the Israelites as Balak desired, Balaam pronounced blessings upon them, as directed by God. In Numbers 23:7-10, Balaam begins his first prophecy, "And he took up his oracle and said, Balak the king of Moab has brought me from Aram, from the mountains of the east. Come, curse Jacob for me, and come, denounce Israel. How shall I curse whom God has not cursed? And how shall I denounce whom the Lord has not denounced? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him, there. A people dwelling alone, not reckoning itself among the nations." Balaam declares that he cannot curse the people whom God has not cursed. Instead, he sees Israel as a unique and blessed nation, dwelling apart from the other nations. This declaration brings disappointment to Balak, who hoped for a curse against the Israelites. In Numbers 23:18-24, Balaam delivers his second prophecy. Then he took up his oracle and said, Rise up, Balak, and hear. Listen to me, son of Zippear. God is not a man, that he should lie, nor a son of man, that he should repent. Has he said, and will he not do? Or has he spoken, and will he not make it good? Behold, I have received a command to bless, he has blessed, and I cannot reverse it. He has not observed iniquity in Jacob, nor has he seen wickedness in Israel. The Lord his God is with him, and the shout of a king is among them. God brings them out of Egypt, he has strength like a wild ox. For there is no sorcery against Jacob, nor any divination against Israel. It now must be said of Jacob and of Israel, Oh, what God has done. Look, a people rises like a lioness, and lifts itself up like a lion, it shall not lie down until it devours the prey, and drinks the blood of the slain. Balaam emphasizes that God does not lie or change his mind. He reiterates that he has received a command to bless the Israelites and that he cannot reverse it. He acknowledges that God has not seen wickedness or iniquity in Israel and affirms that the Lord is with them. Balaam vividly describes the strength and victory of the Israelites, comparing them to a lioness and a lion devouring its prey. In Numbers 24:3-9, Balaam delivers his third prophecy, and he took up his oracle and said, the utterance of Balaam the son of Beor, the utterance of the man whose eyes are opened, the utterance of him who hears the words of God, who sees the vision of the Almighty, who falls down, with eyes wide open. How lovely are your tents, O Jacob! Your dwellings, O Israel! Like valleys that stretch out, like gardens by the riverside, like aloes planted by the Lord, like cedars beside the waters. He shall pour water from his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters. His king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. God brings him out of Egypt, he has strength like a wild ox. He shall consume the nations, his enemies, he shall break their bones and pierce them with his arrows. He bows down, he lies down as a lion, and as a lion, who shall rouse him? In this final prophecy, Balaam praises the beauty and prosperity of the Israelites. He describes them as flourishing like valleys and gardens, blessed by the Lord. Balaam prophesies that the Israelites will be victorious over their enemies, breaking their bones and piercing them with arrows. He compares them to a lion, emphasizing their strength and power. These prophecies from Balaam, despite Balak's intentions for him to curse the Israelites, turned into blessings and declarations of favor upon the chosen people of God. Balaam's words affirmed God's faithfulness to Israel and showcased his protection and provision for his people. Balaam's prophecies not only brought blessings upon the Israelites but also contained future predictions, including the coming of a great king from the Israelite nation who would rule with justice and righteousness. As Balaam's story comes to a close, we find him later mentioned in the Bible during the Israelites' conquest of the Midianites. Balaam, who had initially advised Balak to use seduction to lead the Israelites astray, met his end in battle. While the exact year of his death is not specified in the Bible, let's explore the relevant passages to gain more details about Balaam's end. After Balaam's failed attempts to curse the Israelites, he returns to his own land, Numbers 24 verse 25. However, as the Israelites continue their journey toward the Promised Land, they encounter the Midianites, who conspire against them. The Midianites, following Balaam's advice, lead the Israelites into idolatry and sexual immorality, causing God's anger to be kindled against them, Numbers 25:1-3. In Numbers 31:1-8, we learn that God instructs Moses to avenge the Israelites against the Midianites. Moses sends 1,000 men from each tribe into battle, and they defeat the Midianites, killing all the males, including the 5 kings of Midian. Among those killed is Balaam. Numbers 31:8 specifically mentions Balaam's fate, stating, "They killed the kings of Midian with the rest of those who were killed, Evi, Rekam, Zur, Hur, and Reba, the 5 kings of Midian. Balaam the son of Beor they also killed with the sword." This verse reveals that Balaam, who had advised the Midianites to lead the Israelites astray, met his end in the same battle where the Midianite kings were slain. It serves as a consequence of his actions and involvement in the plot against God's people. Although the Bible does not provide precise details regarding the year or circumstances of Balaam's death, it does indicate that he perished during the conflict between the Israelites and the Midianites. Balaam's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of pursuing personal gain and deviating from God's commands. Despite his initial encounters with God and the knowledge of his will, Balaam ultimately succumbed to temptation, leading to his tragic end. And that brings us to the end of the complete story of Prophet Balaam. From his birth and his unique prophetic abilities to his encounters with God and his ultimate fate, Balaam's journey was filled with lessons of obedience, faith, and the importance of aligning oneself with God's purpose. Join us next time as we explore more captivating tales from the Bible. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. Until then, may God bless you abundantly.